so this is a glass grid. It's plastic. It's not a glass grid. But I use this for cutting strips or shapes because it has these little pockets that when you're cutting or scoring, all the little teeny slivers fall down into the holes, and then you don't have it all over your desk. And then you can just take this to the trash and dump it out. All right, so that's why I use the grid. The second thing I'm going to use is this L square, and I use this to line up. So this grid here helps you line up and cut a straight line as well. But I'm going to use this grid. It's got this little bit of a ledge, and you're going to put that at the top of your art piece, so it kind of, or your art piece, your glass. See how it kind of grabs on? See how it just kind of butts up against that little ledge? And that helps you stay in a straight line as well, right? So these are the tools I'm going to use, as well as my scoring tool and my breaking pliers, okay? So let's talk about the glass real quick. All right, so this glass, this particular glass, already kind of cut one little piece off, so it's normally like that size. I think it's like a 4 by 6. It's plastic. Plastic. All right, so I bought these little baby sheets on Amazon. All right, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the box and what's in it, okay? And I will post the link to this. If you will, instead of going and searching it, if you'll wait till I post the link, it also helps me with my affiliate status with Amazon. And the link, I'll post a link, which gives me a few pennies commission, but it doesn't cost any more for Steve. It doesn't cost any extra for you to use my link, okay? So here's what came, and it's a bunch of sheets. I'm trying to see if it says how many are in here. 12 sheets of 4 by 6 glass. Oh, look, it even came with gloves. I didn't even know that. It came with little gloves for handling the glass. Now I'm Michael Jackson. Okay, that was too far. That was too far. All right, so I want to just dump this out and show you what came in this box. And I'm trying to see if there's a price. This was $24 for 12 little 4 by 6 sheets. And I'll show you, you can get like certain shades, like you can get a box of pink or a box of blue or a box of mixed colors or whatever. This one is purple, and they're all 4 by 6. This one is a purple and green kind of street A. And then we have white. Then we have a sheer like plum purpley color. And we have a yellow. This is obviously the mixed version. And we have blue. You know I love that color. Then we have a green, a red, and this is nice thick glass too. It's, I don't know if it's thicker than the stuff you get at Hobby Lobby, but it kind of feels like it is, a little thicker, right? Then we have another blue, and then we had this blue, which is kind of a cobalt color. And this is what I'm going to demonstrate on. So I got all of this from the Amazon for $24. I'm going to see if I can get it back in the box without making too big of a mess. Let's see what I can do. So if your Hobby Lobby doesn't have glass sheets, you can order some from Amazon. Somebody said they got some off Temu, if that's your thing. You can also order from like Bullseye Glass. It's a little pricier from them, but still good stuff. right, so I'm going to set this aside. So basically, you're going to want to clean your glass, okay? So I already cleaned mine. I know I'm getting my fingerprints all over it right now anyway, but it's going to cut better if it's nice and clean, all right? You don't want any of that like debris or dust or anything like that on your glass because it will also damage the blade on your scoring tool, okay? Wendy says Etsy sells some as well. So, and also, you're going to want to clean your glass, and then you're going to look at your glass kind of in the light, and one side is going to be a little more textured than the other where it has laid out and like to harden, and so it's got a little bit of texture, and the other side is going to be a little smoother. All right, so you're going to want to cut on the smooth side. Yes. Yes, my Hobby Lobby still has glass sheets, and they often have a sale. So when they're on sale at Hobby Lobby, I almost always go and grab some. All right, so clean your glass, and you're going to want to cut on the smoother side. All right, you could use, well, it came with the little cutesy gloves. You could do that. I would normally wear like my glass gloves, voila, to cut. But I'm going to put my life in your hands and cut without gloves because it's just awkward for me. And yes, or you can order glass strips already cut from artshattered.com if you don't want to cut them yourself, which I'm all about because I don't want to cut them myself either. Right? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I like for a small cross like this that's going on here, I like a 1/2 inch thick glass piece. So each grid on here is a 1/2 inch. So it's super easy to just line up the edge of your glass on one of the grid edges, and then you're going to line up I don't know why my words are just down. You're going to line up the square. Thank you. You're going to line up the square just to the left of the other side of that grid because you're going to have a little bit of that space where your blade is. So you want to scooch over to the left of that just a little bit. Now, I stand up when I cut because you need to have that just right amount of pressure. This is definitely thicker because it's kind of wiggly. I like to stand up so that I can put all that pressure on the square to hold that glass still so it doesn't wiggle around or so my square doesn't wiggle. Okay, so I'm going to stand up. I've got it lined up where I want it. Now I'm going to put some pretty good pressure on my square to hold all that super still. Then I'm going to take my scoring tool straight up and down, maybe a slight tilt, but not almost straight up and down. And you're going to pull from top to bottom without stopping. You can go from bottom to top if you want to. Yeah, I usually only use gloves like religiously if I'm cutting glass nips. All right, so you're going to start at the top or the bottom, right at that edge, and you're going to put some good pressure down and pull all the way down. Oh, it kind of stopped on me because there's like a little bit of texture in that. So when I'm cutting, I like to I just don't have one that's in the kit. Normally, I would use this pistol. Oh, I do have one. I forgot the girls brought me one. I have this one that I've been using for years, and it's easier for me because of my arthritis. But I had already set this out, and I'd forgotten that the girls gave me a new one. So let's use that. We'll use that. This is called a pencil grip tool, and this one is a pistol grip scoring tool. Okay, back to the glass. All right, so what I like to do if I'm cutting is to cut 4, 5, 6 strips all at once, however many I need. And so I'm going to go ahead and score another one. So I'm going to line it back up with that grid. I'm going to scoot over to the left, put a little bit of pressure down so it doesn't scoot around. I'm going to start at the top, and you're going to top to bottom without stopping. All right, so let's do it. See how nice that sounded? So let's move over and do one more. Pressure on here so it doesn't move around. Start, stop. All right, now I don't know if you can see that it's still like popping and like releasing some teeny tiny little shards. Oh, don't put oil in it at all. I never put oil inside of these things because they do tend to leak and get icky. What I normally do is I have a cup that I put a little bit of a cloth, like a piece of a t-shirt, in the bottom of a cup and just store it like this in the cup so that the blade stays nice and oiled, but there's no oil inside of the tool that is going to be dripping all over and just being icky in general, leaking out everywhere. All right, so I'm going to take this and just kind of get some of that shard off because I just said I refuse to wear those gloves and I don't want to get cut at this point because then that would just make me a sassy one, wouldn't it? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your running pliers, and if you have just the average running pliers, they have this plastic covering the tips, and you'll see, I don't know if you can see that line? That is where you're going to line up with your score line. Now on these, the top where the line is kind of concave. It's kind of shaped like this. And the bottom one is straight. So that helps break, okay? That helps it to break in the right place. It's not special oil. You could use sewing machine oil, but at Hobby Lobby, they have oil in that same place where they have tools and glass. They have little tiny thing of oil in there, all right? All right, so I am going to just take my running pliers and I'm going to line up. I'm going to do that inside one first. I'm going to line up my score line with the line on my tool and a squeeze. Oh, nice. Same thing, Ida, for the same reason, right? So now I'm just going to do the other pieces. And I like to move my tool up into the score a little instead of trying to do it on the very end. I like to bring it up a little. Squeeze. Voila. And squeeze. Line her up and squeeze. Now, if you're making these to sell, even though we put resin on them, what I want you to do, and this is where you could get cut, okay? After you've cut and scored, or scored and cut, take your stone, your honing stone, brick, whatever, and all it takes is one swipe, all right? One swipe on that cut line. And that's going to dull that edge. It's going to dull that edge, especially if you're selling these. It's going to dull that edge, so if somebody picks it up, they're not going to cut themselves. So now it's kind of dull, and it's not going to cut me. All right? Oh, yeah, these plastic pieces stay on. That protects, because this is hard metal, it protects your glass from shattering. So keep those plastic bits on. All right? So that is how you're going to cut your strips. Does anybody have any questions about cutting strips? Sometimes I forget to say things because it just comes natural to me. So if there's something I missed, something you need to know, hey Diane, something you need to know that I didn't cover, just ask away. I am an open book, okay? So I'm going to move these aside. Actually, I'm going to move this aside because I still have to cut. Oh, there's another fly. Dagnabbit. Them girls leaving the door open. It could be, Judy. It could exactly be why your glass shatters. That metal on the glass is the problem. All right, so the color that she wants, one of the colors she wanted was green. And what width is that? It's a 1/2 inch. And you could go a little bit more narrow, but the skinnier you try to go, the less likely you're going to get a good break, okay? Because of the tools that we're using. I would say you could probably go half of that, and that's about as far as you could go. And see, these are a little bit thinner, these green ones. So I did have green in my little bucket of fun. So we're going to use the green that I have and create her first cross, but I still need to cut the horizontal bits. All right, so I'm going to scoop that over. And what we're going to do is, I put my tool away. What I'm going to do is I want 4 pieces. I like 2 vertical pieces for my crosses and 4 horizontal. So I'm just going to eyeball it and kind of decide where the middle is and just do a little score. And you don't be me. I'm just going to be good. I'm going to be a good girl and break it the right way on the score line. Just snap it. And then I'm going to take these 2 pieces and cut them again. Let me get my smooth side. So kind of right in the middle, just do a little score. And right in the middle, do a little score. Then you can take your running pliers or your breaking pliers. And now we have 4 little horizontal pieces. All right. So now that is the glass, the cross glass that we're going to use for cross number 1. All right. The second one we're going to use is this color. Now, I only have 2 pieces of this color, and one was super fat and one was super skinny. And this is too skinny to like cut in half and try to break, especially on this end. You can see that's a little bit bigger on one end than the other. So what we're going to do is use this bigger piece for the vertical and the smaller piece for the horizontal. But the first thing I need to do is figure out how long, right? So I like space at the top and bottom. So I'm going to line up kind of where I want it. I like about 1 inch on the top and the bottom. So I want to cut it about right there. So I'm just going to mark it. Then we're going to, I'm being so good. It does not matter, Terry. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I'm using my tool, so we're going to break that. And I'm thinking I may try to cut that. It's really too fat. All right, we're gonna try. Oh, you know what we may do? Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mix it up. Since I have a fat and a skinny, I'm gonna have a fat and a skinny vertical and fat and skinny horizontals. All right? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I have scored both ways, and it literally doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to. All right, so I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to make it just a wee bit shorter because that's just how I roll. I like them to not be exactly the same. All right, so there I am not using my tool. So let's see. So these are our verticals. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to make 2 pieces that are about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches. Score. and score. And we'll break those. We'll discard this for now. And then we're going to do 2 more pieces of the skinny, a little bit smaller. So just score and score. We'll break that. Discard the big piece. And a little piece. So now we have 4 verticals, or 4 horizontal, 2 vertical of each color. Now we can hone them. Okay, now we're going to take the sharp edges off once you get them all cut. All right, so this is when you really, if you're not wearing gloves before, this is when I'm going to do the right thing and put the gloves on. That way I don't have an excuse. And I'm just going to hone my edge, both sides. Then we're going to flip it and do the same thing. Flip it. I think, Devin, I know what's wrong with me today is I'm bad. I know. I do all the time, snap by hand. But when you're doing a live, oh my Lord, it triggers people, and I don't want people yelling at me, telling me I'm doing it wrong. So I'm trying to be good. What I do in private is my business. Oh, Jackie, I'm so sorry. See, it's things like that I don't think about telling people. But apparently, I mean, how would you know, right? I have not had a marshmallow today, and I think that is my problem. So let's hone all these edges. I like to hone them all at the same time. And you don't have to just hone them to death, really. There's just a little scrape on each one is plenty. You don't need oil in your tool. Don't put it inside your tool. And I will tell you this, if you're a member, there are videos on how to use the tools inside the Shattered Circle. Very comprehensive explanations about how to use your tools and what they're for and how to care for them. I do not put oil in my tool because it does leak. Unless you buy one that costs $1,000 quadrillion, they do. That's right. That's right, Julie. Unless you get a really high-end one, they do tend to leak. So what I like to do is have a cup. I want to get that point. See how that one broke? It doesn't matter. So anyway, I don't put oil in my tool. I just put my tool in oil. I have a little cup that my tool sits in. It's got a little piece of t-shirt at the bottom, and I just stick it in the cup so that the blade stays moist and lubricated. All right. Yay, Barbara. So we're going to do these little bits. These are kind of hard with my big old man hands. They sell, I'm going to tell y'all this too, and if I need to post a link, you guys let me know. But they do sell the extra, like the replacement little plastic tips for those. They used to sell them at Hobby Lobby. And I don't know if they do anymore, but I know I've seen them. Yeah, I know I've seen them on Amazon. Will you be able to send the link or post a link to the tool you use that costs like, oh, what kind of tool was it, Shauna? Tell me what tool you're talking about, and I will be happy to. I think I did all of those. Did I do them all? All All right, so real quick, before I move forward, I'm just going to use this because it's handy. I'm just going to wipe off any dust off of these pieces. Yeah, that's what I do. Just going to wipe the dust off so they're not floating around in our resin. Oops. Let's do this one. Good for you, Jackie. Go get them. Put them back on. They have replacements in there, just, you know, a few dollars, I think. Not terribly expensive. I'll post a link when this is over, so you don't have to go hunting them down. It does create a little bit of dust, and I just wipe it off like what I'm doing right now. All right? Just do this, what I'm doing. Because I was kind of doing it over the top of this board, I'm going to wipe this off too. The one that cut glass. Was it the tabletop tool, Shauna? Like the tabletop thing? Stuart saying glasses moving and had glass and supplies on sale. Cool beans. All right. So if I'm honing a lot, you definitely want to do the honing either over a trash can or over a tray. And if you're honing a lot, put a mask on. You don't want to be breathing all that dust that is created when you're honing. It's just really fine glass dust. Make sure you put a mask on so that you're not kind of breathing that dust. And you can just wipe it off. Just wipe it off. All right, I'm going to move my tools. Okay, remind me, Shauna, and when we're done here, I will pull it out and do a little quick demo on it. I'm going to move these away. I'll put them right there for now. The girls are going to beat me up. And I'll make sure there's no dust. And no dust. Okay. These are my glass gloves. They're really good for protecting your hands from cuts. And I think I got those on Amazon as well. Y'all know Amazon lives at my house. Lives there. All right, I am going to break out some glue, Aleene's clear tacky glue from Hobby Lobby. Any clear, fast-drying glue will work. All right, any clear, fast-drying glue. This is just my most favoritist ever. And this is for the green one. So let's start with blue. So I'm going to take my two long pieces. And I'm just going to put a couple of tiny dots of glue on one of my long pieces. And then I'm going to sandwich that shorter piece onto there and kind of smush it around. It just kind of holds it together, right? So now what I'm going to do is make sure they're both lined up. And then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put a very, spit that out. I'm going to put a very thin bit of glue on the edge of that one side. All right, so now I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to line up. If you'll hang out to the end, Lisa, I'll do a little demo on the back of one. I'm going to line up my glass. I'm going to make sure as well as I can that it is centered and where I want it top and bottom. All right, so we're just going to line that up. I'm going to press it down a little. And I'm going to look, make sure it is where I want it. And it's somewhat straight, right? We want it to be straight. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my horizontal pieces. All right, I'm going to take a little dot of glue and a little dot of glue. And I'm going to put my little baby pieces on top. I want them lined up on one edge. See how one is skinnier than the other? You want to line them up. This is the edge that I'm going to have down to my wood. So I want those to be lined up. September 5. Oh my goodness. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. And I'm going to add that little vertical. Now on this particular one, I have the fat piece on top and the skinny piece on the bottom. And I'm going to reverse that on this other side. So I'm going to make sure that they're reversed. So I'm lining the edges up. I'm going to add a little bit of glass. Boom, boom, boom. Just a teeny bit. You don't want to overdo it. And I got to stand up and look down so I can see if it's all lined up the way I want. And she is fantastic. So I'm going to set this one aside to be doing a little bit of drying while we do our green one. All right, so we'll just move that aside. We'll take this one's a little bit smaller. And we're going to take our long pieces. And you can see that I have a long piece and a shorter piece. All right, and I like them this way because I like for them to be like not the same exactly. All right, so we're going to add a couple of dots of glue. Then I'm going to sandwich them together. Oh, I need to make sure. See how both of these have like a broken edge? This is where I have, when I was cutting strips and they didn't cut right, and then you can just use them anyway. But I do want them to match. I don't want them to be opposite of each other. So I'm going to do them like that. And then I'm going to add my glue to the edge again. And y'all, I have to tell you this. These crosses have been forever one of my all-time biggest sellers. I know that in some parts of the world, they're not as popular or whatever, but in the South, I would go out on a limb and say I would have sold thousands of them, thousands upon thousands. They are great for if you're doing Christmas, arts and crafts shows. They're great for that. They make great little gifts. They're the perfect gift size and price. And Mother's Day, all kinds of stuff. So keep that in mind. So now we're going to do our horizontals. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've pulled the vertical pieces where that shorter one lines up exactly where I want to put my verticals. Just something I like to do. It's not necessary, but it's just a little something I like to do. So let's, a little dot of glue. I'm going to line them up, put just a few little bits of glue on one edge, and we're going to line that up. I'll have to take a peek at it in just a second from up top. And boom, boom. You can. I mostly try to keep the background neutral, Janie, white or natural or, just a wash of a color, because you want the cross to be the focal point, not the background. So cross is what I like, but you could do whatever your heart desires. All right, so these are both done. And let me find my little glue top. Yes, that was fun, wasn't it? We made so many, didn't we? All right, so what we're going to add to these is some Starfire by request. I'm just doing these by request. Hang on, gotta have a sip. My throat's so dry. So what I like to do is just pour a little bit of glass in my hand. All right, I saw a great big piece. I want to get that out. And it's just about that much. What I like to do is hover over that top area of the cross, both hands, and just release. And you can see that didn't work out perfectly because all the glass went to one side, but we can just adjust that a little. But that way I'm not like trying to place things and like make sure that it's perfect. I like to just throw the glass on. So let's do it again. I put that big piece of glass in back in my hand. All right, so let's try it again. So put it in your hand, hover over the intersection, and voila, that's much better. And we're going to let that be just like it is. And the last thing we're going to do, and this is just Starfire at her request. Normally I would match up this part of the glass with the color of the cross. Yes, I put sawtooths on the back of these, and what I do, I never like to do them before I do the resin because I don't like to elevate my stuff until I'm done. But I just take a towel, fold it over multiple times, and turn it upside down and put a sawtooth on the back just with a little screwdriver. All right, the last thing we're going to do is add glass chips right in the intersection. LaDonna, 10 by 20, yes, you could totally like scatter them, like, do them like this. And I'll show you if I can find some long ones. I'll show you kind of what I would do if I didn't have long pieces. All right, I'm going to find I like this one for there. So we're going to use a glass chip. We sell these in our store, artchatter.com. And I'm going to use this one for my green cross. And then for the blue one, I love this, but it's very Christmassy. For the blue one, I think I may use this. I like it because it's big and bold and it has those blues in it. All right, so we're going to put this back and put the extras back. So the glass chips we sell, I dropped some. We sell in our store in 2 different sizes. Big bag and small bag. Big bag, small bag. All right. So now I'm going to use my glue again. And I'm going to put a tiny amount of glue right in that intersection. And then I like to put a little bit of glue on the back side of the glass bits, right? And we'll let that set up. We'll scooch this one over and do the same thing. A little bit of glue just in the intersection, and this will help sandwich it together. And we'll add that right there. Voila. Now we're going to give this a few minutes to set up, and I will, while we're doing that, thank you, Catherine, for keeping up. I am going to show you real quick how I dry brush the back. Okay, I'll do a quick little demo. I'm going to use a chip brush. Does everybody know what a chip brush is? Yeah. And I'm not going to use white. I'm going to use an off-white that is like vintage or bleached sands. I'm going to use bleached sand, okay? So what I like to do, you're going to take your board, make sure it's sanded. The back is a little rougher than I would like, so I'm going to take a little bit of sandpaper and just make sure it's nice and smooth. Now I'm getting dust all over my desk, and now it's all over my clothes. And a chip brush, and I'm just going to use this old palette. I'm going to put a little bit of paint on my palette, and I'm going to make like a line. And I'm going to take my brush I like it upright, but Pat, you do you. There's no requirement. You do it exactly how you want to. Okay? So you're going to go in, and I'm going to go both sides and add some paint. This brush is dry, okay? You do not want to wet your brush. You want it to be dry. We'll get a little bit more. And you want less is more because you can always add more paint, but it's going to be super hard just to take it away. You'll have to sand it, right? So I'm going to start at the top and just press and pull. We'll reload. And you're just going to keep doing this until you like the way it looks, right? Always use a dry brush. And you want to go top to bottom. You don't want to start like in the middle because then you have like a line. Gail, that started, I think, during COVID, because it was like you could not get a brush that was not like shedding. It was terrible. I will tell you this though, the older they are, the less they shed. So just use them. And then once they're really old and have been washed 20 or 30 times, they don't shed. All right, so this is basically how you're going to dry brush and do that distressed look. And you're just going to keep adding layers until you like the way it looks. I'm a weirdo. I like old antique things. That's why I like Steve. And so I like it just like it is, but we're going to continue to add a little paint just to show you. You could stop here if you liked it. Or you could just do it until you're happy. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more. Trying not to get paint all over the place. All right, so that is how you get that effect. Now this one, I used white paint. This one I used bleach sand, so you can see the difference. If you're using white, you need to seal that before you add your glass. All right, I'm going to put this behind me. We are now, let me put this away as well. Now we're going to get ourselves some resin. Now these only take maybe a 1/4 ounce. I sealed them after I put the paint on. These are only going to take just a little over a 1/4 ounce of resin for each one. But I'm going to mix up way more than I need. It's just fence boarding. I'm going to mix up way more than I need because I have 2 small things I need to resin, and I can't resin them with you guys because they're secretive. They're for something coming up. But I'm going to go ahead and mix 2 ounces, but we are not going to use that much. And I will tell you when we're done exactly how much it took for both of these crosses. All right, but I'm going to mix way more than I need. I'm going to mark my cup. Let's see. Instead of using that, I'm going to use 2 1-ounce cups and then mix into a bigger one because you need that extra mixing space. So 1 ounce of hardener and 1 ounce of resin. Now, if you're new here, I marked these because even though they're embossed with the measurements, once you get the resin and hardener in here, it's really hard to see that embossed line, right? So I like to mark them. I used Krylon non-yellowing clear spray sealer. All right, I'm going to get my gloves on and we're going to get to mixing. gloves. Something that's coming up in the future. It won't be a secret forever. Just something that is going to get released later. All right, so my 2 cups, I am going to start with my hardener. And I'm going to put an ounce of hardener in 1 cup. Y'all don't let me forget to tell you how much resin we used. All right, you know what I should do? Because once I mix this resin, it's mix it. It's use it or lose it. Y'all know that. So, and I told Shauna I was going to show her that machine again. So I'm going to just put this in the cups. I'm going to pull that machine out and just do 1 or 2 quick cuts, and then we'll come back. That'll give our glue a little extra time to dry. All right, so, but once I put these together, that's it. It will be all over but the crying. We won't be able to stop. I won't be able to show her. So I'm going to move this aside real quick, and just give me 1 second, and I'm going to bring up this. Hang on. I got to dig it out of the hole it's in. Ugh. It's mounted on a board. So this is called a Score 1. I don't know if you can even see it. It's a strip or glass shape cutting tool. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can kind of see what it looks like. All right, I have it mounted to this board. Bridesmaids gifts for who? Stephen Gray. All right, and what you do is it has a lever that raises the blade right here so that you put your glass in, and this, whoa, this right here adjusts that blade up and down. All right, this, I forget what this is, and it has this little roller right here that you roll your glass through. So let me just real quick show you how to score here, okay? So I'm going to raise up, and I know it's hard to tell at this angle, but I don't really have a choice. I'm going to raise up my scoring tool, and I'm going to put my glass in and lower it, kind of like a sewing machine, all right? It's kind of like a sewing machine. My blade is on the glass. And now this knob here is kind of like a sewing machine. If you've ever used a sewing machine and instead of hitting the foot pedal, you've like turned the knob on the side to make the machine and needle go, that's what we're going to be doing. So you're just going to turn it. Make sure you keep it straight. What I like to do sometimes is to make a Sharpie line on my glass. Steve was supposed to like build me a platform so the glass would sit flat, but that hasn't happened yet. So y'all yell at him. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to raise the lever, and I'm going to drop it down at the top of my glass, and we're going to turn it again. All right, just turn. I think it was like $80-ish, but it works really well. It's just slow. All right, so we have 2 scores in that glass now. So I'm going to take my little pliers, my running pliers. What I do with them, they're on the ground, and you're going to line them up, right, with that little line. Line them up and squeeze. Voila. Line it up and squeeze. Voila. Right? So this tool, I will also pop a link in for that. I don't have it handy. I didn't really think about using that. But you can see it's just a small little machine. And it's actually very useful if you don't mind, if you're not cutting mass quantities. If you're cutting mass quantities, it'll drive you crazy. But anyway, all right, so let's go back over here. Let's get a bigger cup. I'm going to post the link when we're done here. So let's put our hardener and resin in a bigger cup. And my garbage can has my laptop on it, so I can't throw them away. So let's get that in. Scrape all that stuff out. And we're going to stir this for 3 minutes. And, hang on, got it itch. We're going to stir for I'm going to push these up. We're going to stir, oh yeah, Shauna, this would be excellent for you. We're going to stir for 3 minutes. Catherine is going to let me know when time is up. And until then, anybody who has a question about what we're doing here, no matter what it is, if it's about resin, if it's about crosses, if it's about glass art, whatever you have a question about, oops, already had a stick. I am here to answer that question, so just ask away. And I'm going to start my stir. Starting my stir, y'all. Yeah, I will post the link. I'll have to find it because I've had it probably a year, maybe a little longer. But I pay people to cut the glass. And yeah, it's a very slow tool. Maybe I'll gift it to somebody someday. So we're just stirring, scrape the sides. We're using art resin. Pause. Here's what it looks like, right? It is designed specifically for art projects. It is made in the US of A. It has no VOCs, no COVs, no BPAs, and has extra yellowing or ambering protection. All right, so if you are looking for a resin to use, that is the one I would recommend. Yes. Oh, yeah, it'll do any cut you want. You don't have to just do straight. You can do whatever. You can just, you just got to move the glass how you want it cut. Thank you, Marcia. I do not use the automatic resiner because mostly, for the most part, when I'm mixing resin, it's for a demo or for a tutorial, and I like to just mix by hand like I'm assuming that most of you all do as well. So I just kind of like to stick to that. And I still don't have the air bubble remover thingy replacement, so I can't speak on that as well. Stir, stir, stir. All right. How many of you here right now? There's 129 people. Thank you all for being here and hanging out with me for this period of time. How many of you bought the mermaid tail kit, and did you make it yet? Do you love it? Let me know in the comments. Do you love it? Is it cute? Need to see some pictures. Yeah, Jackie, I agree. It's like, what? Why wouldn't you, because I did converse with them back and forth via email, and, suddenly they just stopped answering my questions. So I don't know. It's called a Resiners Pro, I think. Yeah, this was a special order. So the reason I have clear glass is because that's what they wanted. Okay, Catherine said time up. Puddle pockets. You're going to have to explain what you mean by that. All right, I'm going to pull. I saw you. I'm going to pull down, get them closer to me. And I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm going to move it towards me with the resin. We'll start with this one. Probably in the next month, Barbara, we're going to do a little bit. This is probably the end of our beach theme or, regular art pieces. We'll start with a little bit of fall over the next 30 days or so, and then we'll hit Christmas really hard. If you're in the membership, there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of Christmas-themed art projects in the vault or in the regular membership, so you should check those out. Haven't received it yet. That's weird. You should have received that already. Just noticed. Does that allow non-members to get these videos? Debbie, these videos will live on this page for 30 days. That's all that Facebook will allow. And you're talking about these that we're doing like right now. They live here for 30 days. After 30 days, if you're not a member, you can find these videos on YouTube. Art Shattered on YouTube. That's where they will live when we're done, when Facebook removes them. We still have kits, Cheryl, so I don't know, unless you just didn't buy it because you didn't want to. But we definitely still have them. All right, so all that's covered. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the outside edge, and then we're going to go ahead and resin, this one, and then we'll smear it all around. So we're going to just drizzle all over the glass. Or is that not adorable, the bathtub bubbles? Bathtub bubbles, I think it is like one of my favorites. And I know I say that all the time, but it's always true. I'm never fibbing about that. I'm going to turn this sideways. It's always true. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing I've ever made. And then, then again, it'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing I've ever made. I guess it's good to feel that way about what you're making, right? I can't wait to see y'all's mermaid tails. I have another one coming up, probably in the next week. I had to wait on a specific something that comes in the kit to finish, so it's a little bit delayed. Connie, I personally would sell these for probably $40, but I'm way higher than most people. But when I was selling a lot, that was my price for these, $40. And I would do them on canvas and on wood. And no matter what I put them on, it was $40. All right, so let's do this. Oh. Yes, Stacy, you can do all kinds of things. And gifts for your friends who are. All right, that one I'm going to push aside. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to take 4 ounces and yes, that is exactly what I have heard, Lori. I'm just smearing this around to cover my entire board. I've heard that and seen that in a lot of reviews that they no contact, they don't really want to help, and that the cups overfloweth because it like bubbles it up or something. I watched a video and it got super bubbly, like flowed over into the machine, And I'm like, this is supposed to take away bubbles, not make more. I don't know, but I have one. It's a non-working one. All right, almost done here. Just want to make sure it's covering the whole thing. Keep in mind, when you're doing these on wood, your resin is going to be splotchy. It is not going to be perfectly smooth. You're going to have spots where it soaks in, spots where it's high-low. When it's finished in like maybe next week, the beginning of next week, Kathy. It's not finished yet. I had to order something that I wanted to put on it. So it's not quite finished, and I've been waiting on it. Here's what happened. All honesty. Here is the transparent truth. I had ordered, I had decided I wanted to add this one particular giblet to the next in the series. And I went on Amazon to order some because, I like to order just one or two to see if I like it before I order like mass quantities. So I ordered, and then I kept saying, why has that not gotten here yet? Well, I thought I ordered. It was just still sitting in my cart, and that is just so typical of me. It's like I threw it in my cart, and then I'm like griping that it hadn't got here, and it hadn't got here because I didn't pay for it. That is an excellent reason not to ship it yet, don't you think? Let's see. All right, so this is all covered. I can already tell like some of these spots where the wood is showing, where it's kind of soaking up the resin, and that's okay. We knew in advance that was going to happen, and the sweet friend who wanted me to make these for her already has one, and so she knew that was going to be the gist of it as well. All right, so now I'm going to hit these with my heat gun to pop any bubbles. And I'm going to tell you this, popping these bubbles on this wood is just, hang on. It's just like going through the motions. You're right about that, Devin. If I had marshmallows, they'd be in my hand already. Popping the bubbles on a wood piece is, you should always try to pop the bubbles anyway, but it's kind of like just going through the motions because wood holds air, and that air is going to pop up through the wood anyway, and you're going to have those little divots. You just have to know and accept when you're working on wood, even when you're working on canvas really, that it's not going to have a perfect glossy glass finish. All right? It's just not going to. That's just how it is. All right, so that is it. These are for my friend. We have a blue with clear glass on distressed, dry brushed white. And I will elevate those in a minute. We have green on distressed with clear, it's actually Starfire. Super cute. I've made these by the hundreds. Many. They're a super fun thing to make.